Good morning and welcome to another episode of Pep's Corner. Today we will continue reading our book, The Mostly True Adventures of Homer P. Figg. We are reading chapter 12 today, which can be found on pages 60 through 66. Our focus and purpose for reading is posted on the screen, so make sure you have your book in hand and are actively reading and following along. Remember, boys and girls, to reread a second time so you are coming to shared reading, fully prepared to engage in instruction. Let's begin. Chapter 12. The Door in the Dirt. Brewster's privy looks better cared for than Squint's whole house and is nearly as big. It's got fancy wood trim, all painted neat and white, and a half moon cut in the door. Very civilized and way better than the cow ditch me and Harold used when we had to do our business out behind the barn. I'm most ways to the privy door when a dirt-colored hand clamps over my mouth and yanks me into the shadows behind the building. Smelt with his knife. "Evening, boy," he whispers, his nasty little eyes flickering to the big house. "If you try to scream, I'll wring your neck and drop your body into the chessup. Nod if you understand." I nod. Smelt grins, showing me his tooth. "Fatten you up, did they? Fuss over you some? Hope you enjoyed it, boy. Hope you paid attention, because if you can't tell me where they hid them fugitives, this world's got no more use for Homer Figg. You might as well jump in that chestnut and save me the trouble." My brain has been racing since I run from the house, trying to find a lie that will save me and the runaway slaves, and Mr. Brewster too. Comes to me in that very moment, with Smelt jabbing the point of the knife in my ribs, looking for a soft spot. Don't know if the lie is powerful enough to work, but it's the only one I have at the moment. "Gemstones," I explain. "Tourmaline." "Hush your voice, boy," he hisses. "In the mine," I tell him. "They're hiding in the old tourmaline mine." That filthy hand of his starts squeezing my neck. "The mine? Who told you? The cook or the old man?" "Showed me," I say, gasping as his hand tightens. "You saying he took you up in the mine and showed you where he's got the slaves hid? You expect me to believe that?" The part of the lie I'm counting on is that Smelt doesn't know he was spotted shadowing me and Jebediah Brewster to the mines. Best kind of lie has some truth in it. Just like Smelt said. Used to drive my brother Harold crazy when I tell folks our dear father was killed by a tree that measured a mile high from the roots to the top. The tree was real, but the mile wasn't. And Harold said that made it worse, telling a lie that was part of the truth. I can see in Smelt's eyes that he's trying to catch me in a lie, but hasn't so far, because he knows Mr. Brewster really did show me the mine. "I've been all over that site," Smelt says, puzzling it out. "Didn't see no fugitive slaves, nor any place to hide them. Old shed with the rusty tin roof. I tell him, make it up as I go along. There's a secret passage in the shed. Nothing in that shed but rocks and dirt," he says suspiciously. "Under the dirt," I tell him. "There's a door under the dirt." Mr. Brewster wouldn't let me go down there, but he lifted the door up enough with his foot so I could see the ladder down. "Hole in the dirt don't mean nothing," he says. "It's a mine. There's a lot of holes in the dirt." "Heard a baby crying," I tell him. That gets his attention. Probably he knows fugitives have a child or two. "Baby crying, you say?" "Yes, sir." He presses the knife harder. Another twitch and he'll be drawing blood. "Tell me the truth now. Why'd a man like Jebediah Brewster show you where he's hiding them fugitives? Why'd he trust a lying boy like you? Said it was up to me whether I wanted to help or run away." Smelt makes a face, nods himself. Sounds like that Quaker fool. "So now you know, right? Maybe I do and maybe I don't. I did what you wanted. Give me back my horse." That makes him laugh. "It's my horse now for sparring with your worst's life." "You promised to let me go," I insist. "I've got to find my brother before he gets to war." In the dark, he looked like a jack-o'-lantern with one snaggletooth grinning before me. That wasn't the deal. The deal was, do like I say and I might let you live. It's still a might, boy. Show me this door in the dirt, and then we'll see who's lying and who's dying. When the stuff's a rag in his mouth, then he stuffs a rag in my mouth, whips a rope around my wrist, and drags me off into the night. When I was little, and we first went to live with our Uncle Squintin Leach, the thing I was most scared of, other than the dark, was my brother Harold disappearing. Our father was gone, and our dear mother too. It seemed like a big brother would be next, and then I'd be all alone in the world. I'd wake up crying and afraid, and and to soothe me, Harold told me stories about pirates and Indians. Pirates and Indians wanted to get us, but couldn't. No matter how hard they tried, Harold always made me the one who saved us. I'd trick pirates, and we'd get away, or I'd show him how to hide from the Indians. And he'd tell me how clever I was, how brave, only that it was making up the story, not me. Harold never believed in pirates, not real pirates, and the only Indians left in Pine Swamp worked for the timber company, felling trees. It was only made up stories to make me feel safe. We never had a story about someone like Ebenezer Smelt, because we never knew a man that bad really existed. A man that'll hurt innocent people like animals and drag a boy through the dark of night and threaten to kill him. Some things are worse than the worst kind of nightmare, and it turns out the only thing worse than Ebenezer Smelt is his partner, Stink Mullins, who was waiting for us in the woods. The moment we get there, Stink grabs a rope, throws me to the ground, and kicks the air out of me. "You was thinking something bad," he says, satisfied. "That'll teach you." Then he grabs the rag from my mouth and dabs at his empty eye socket. Lucky for me, he decides to keep the rag and jams it in his pocket. "Where they hid?" he asked Smelt. "The boy found out. Says they're at the mine in a secret tunnel. You believe him, do you?" "I don't believe nothing till I see it with my own eyes." "Where's Festus?" "In the lean-to, trussed up like a turkey," Stink says with a chuckle. "That darky is too scared to move, let alone get himself free. I don't know why they call Samuel Reed the conductor Festus. I figure he's got about as much chance of seeing the sunrise as I do once they figure out I'm lying about the mine, unless I can come up with a better lie, one that will set us both free." "They on the move tonight?" Stink asked, prodding at me with his boot. Best I can do is nod. That's enough to get us up and moving again. There's no moon in the sky and only a few dim stars showing through the clouds. But the two men know where they're going. Before long, we're on a trail up to the mine, following the wagon ruts. The dark feels heavy like a thick blanket that won't let you breathe, and the ground is hard and sharp under my feet. Suddenly, Smelt holds up his hands and stops. "You hear that?" Pebbles skitter down from the hills around us. "Ground is always moving here," says Stink. "All that scavenge from the mine." "Something's out there," Smelt explains. "Something's alive. Raccoon or skunk," says Stink with a laugh. "What you afraid of?" "Nothing." "Afraid of an old Quaker man that won't lift a hand to defend himself? Afraid of a bunch of scared to death darkies? Shut up." The strange thing of it is, the closer we get to the mine, the calmer I feel. Doesn't make sense, because I still don't know what to say when they figure out there's no door in the dirt. Maybe the strange calm feeling is what happens when a man stands up for the firing squad or climbs the gallows to be hung. Like you're calm because the waiting part is almost over and you're tired of being afraid. Only difference is, so dark I won't need a blindfold. We come at last to the old tin shed, and the space so empty even the ghosts have gone away. Stink pulls me up short on the rope. He smells worse than the cesspit, worse than rotten eggs or a dead cat. "No sense waiting," he says to Smelt, unsheathing his knife. "The slaves are here, and they ain't. Either way, Homer Figg has outlived his usefulness." I'm trying to decide, should I close my eyes or not, when all of a sudden the darkness moves and takes the shape of a man. Samuel Reed, freed from his bonds, is swinging a 6-foot iron bar like a baseball bat, and Stink Mullins is a cheap home run.